Welcome back, everyone. Tonight we're diving into one of Japan's most chilling urban legends, one that's haunted school children for generations. They call her Hanako-san, the ghost of the third stall. The story always starts the same, the third cubicle on the third floor. You knock 3 times and ask, "Hanako-san, are you there?" If she answers, your fate depends on the version you hear. Some say she grants wishes, others claim she drags you down the toilet, gone forever. Stay until the end, because I'll reveal the truth hidden behind this legend, and why Japanese students still whisper her name in fear. Aiko Nakamura, 16, hair tied neatly with a black elastic, wearing thin-framed glasses, lives in a small apartment on the outskirts of Kyoto. Aiko's mornings begin like those of countless other kids. A soft alarm buzz, the smell of steaming rice from the cooker, her mom flipping eggs in a pan, her dad folding the newspaper with precision. Aiko slips on white socks, checks her school schedule on her phone, tucks a bento box into her bag, and pulls her train pass from her wallet, all in a seamless loop. An ordinary girl in an ordinary home, in a city that wakes to the distant chime of temple bells. Aiko's goals are simple: excel to get into the economics department at a public university, maintain her role as vice president of the student council, and steer clear of the superstitions her grandma often shares. She loves numbers, the certainty that everything has an answer. Equations have solutions, articles have sources, rumors can be debunked. On her desk, a planner brims with neat boxes: math, functions, literature, essay, English, week 46 vocab. Below it, a volunteer club form with Aiko checking library support. She wants her record clean, orderly, logical. No room for tales like knock 3 times on the bathroom stall door. Aiko's world is unremarkable. A 3-story public school, beige walls, glossy tiled hallways, windows facing a row of ginkgo trees. The bell rings, and students flow to their seats like water. In literature, the teacher discusses point of view in short stories. In physics, the teacher sketches circuit diagrams. Aiko takes notes steadily, occasionally leaning over to whisper with Hana, her deskmate who scribbles song lyrics in her notebook's margins. At break, the class crowds the cafeteria for hot, wax paper-wrapped buns. Swapping charger plugs, trading class duties, or dodging sudden rain under a shared umbrella. That's Aiko's life, the life of any student. Aiko is practical, sometimes rigid. When friends chatter about Hanako-san, she smirks. Just another case of groupthink. People tell each other until they believe it's real. She has a list of why nots. Hallway acoustics cause odd echoes. Bathrooms are damp, fluorescent lights flicker. Wall scratches are just old student pranks. For Aiko, any event with enough data can be explained. After school, Aiko stays late at the student council room. Long table, plastic water bottles, paper clips clattering. She checks the school festival schedule, assign duties, borrow speakers, order banners. The repetition comforts her. Everything falls into neat rows. Before heading home, she stops by the library, borrows a practice test book, nods lightly to the librarian. Her steps on the wooden floor are so familiar, she could navigate the dips blindfolded. Small things define Aiko: how she smooths paper before writing the first line, checking her watch at 17:50 to catch a less crowded train, texting "I'm home" to the family chat, her mum's reminder to not stay up late. At home, her grandma sometimes shares old tales about paper charms, salt circles, rules against naming the dead after dusk. Aiko listens with a polite smile, brews barley tea for her, but her mind is a tidy filing cabinet. Respect, but don't believe. Aiko's social world is predictable. A class with a few loud kids, a few quiet ones, a group chat that buzzes, then goes silent. There's exam pressure, family expectations, and the faint loneliness when her best friend is busy dating while she's glued to math problems. But Aiko is used to going alone without feeling lonely. earbuds playing lo-fi, train pass in hand. She switches lines at Kyoto station like hundreds of others. The third-floor bathroom, left row, third stall. For Aiko, it's just a functional space. The sliding door's latch sometimes sticks. Its back has peeling paint shaped like a leaf. Aiko likes it because it's clean, near a small window with a breeze. A specific place on a specific day, but in her schedule, it's just a brief stop. Nothing noteworthy. If anything sets Aiko apart, it's her belief that normalcy is the best shield. She reasons, ghost stories target those who believe in them. So Aiko stays busy, packed study schedule, full student council duties, reminders to leave no room for imagination to creep in. Afternoons, she drills practice tests. Evenings, she folds clothes, wipes her desk, sorts pens by color. When tired, she opens a window, breathes cool air, listens to cars below. Everything's fine. Kyoto lights up, reflecting on the river like golden threads. Beautiful, calm, orderly. In sociology class, the teacher talks about the power of stories, how humans give meaning to the world through myths and symbols. Aiko takes notes but scribbles a tiny evidence in the margin. For her, stories matter only when they illuminate reality, not replace it. When Hana whispers, "Would you dare knock and call Hanako?" Aiko shrugs. Knocking on air won't get an answer. The quip comes naturally, like someone who trusts reason would say to ease the mood. That's why Aiko feels so relatable. She's not a superhuman heroine or a fearless girl breaking limits, just a student juggling homework and sleep, torn between trusting adults or herself, rumors or truth. Her actions are familiar. Missing a train, forgetting a pen, fixing her messy hair before a test, hesitating before sending an apology text for cancelling group plans. These small moments make you think, I've been there, Yet there are cracks in Aiko's logical shell. Not ghosts, but emotions. Passing a group laughing over an inside joke, Aiko feels suddenly outside. When rain falls and friends huddle under an awning, she wishes someone would ask, "Are you cold?" These moments don't make her believe in the supernatural, but they soften her heart to the idea. Sometimes, the most invisible thing is loneliness. One Tuesday afternoon, the student council room's wall clock nears 6. Silence spreads as sports clubs disband. Footsteps fade. Aiko gathers her notes, switches off the light, locks the door, planning to drop off a library book before heading home. The third-floor hallway feels longer than usual, a breeze slipping through a cracked window. The women's bathroom at the end, with its familiar blue girls sign, doesn't stand out. Aiko doesn't think twice, just a routine stop in her day. And right there, in the most ordinary place, on the most ordinary schedule, the story takes a turn. But before it unfolds, Aiko is still just Aiko, 16, fond of tidy planners, prioritizing logical answers, taking the shortest route home to eat dinner with her family. A character anyone could meet, or be. And that's why the audience sees Aiko and thinks, this could happen to me tomorrow in that familiar school. The third-floor bathroom door sits ajar, its hinge creaking faintly, an insignificant detail in the quiet hallway. The fluorescent light above flickers once, off then on, like it blinked. On the pale tiles, a thin water trail curves, as if someone stepped out, and the last drop fell slowly. These trifles barely register, but Aiko pauses for half a second, feeling silly for staring at a half-open door. She presses her lips, shakes her head. Just saving electricity with fewer lights. Her hand pushes the door, the familiar dry scrape of the handle against metal after 2 years here. A faint antiseptic smell lingers, mixed with chalk dust from the nearby classroom. The hallway clock likely reads near 7, a time when the school feels like a whale sleeping at the ocean's bottom, breathing slowly, sounds sinking. A soft giggle, so faint Aiko thinks it's the vent humming a new pitch. Then silence. She raises an eyebrow, convincing herself. Just water in the pipes. Familiarity is a thin armor humans wear against the inexplicable. Aiko wears hers a bit thicker. She heads straight to the third stall as usual. The door's slightly open, swaying, really just moving with the draft from the entrance. She touches the edge, pushes it wider. Empty. Dry floor, neat tissue roll, gleaming hook. Aiko peers under the adjacent stalls, seeing no shadows. Third floor's empty as always, she mutters, as if needing a witness. The latch clicks shut. In that sealed space, every sound grows larger than it is. Her own breath, the rustle of her jacket, a screw vibrating somewhere in the draft. Another giggle, clearer now, from the stall to the left. Aiko holds her breath, listens. Instant silence, as if the sound got shy and fled. She smirks, a smile refusing to lose to her imagination. Someone else, probably. I just didn't notice them come in. She unlatches the door, steps out, nudges the next stall's door. Empty. She checks each one. Empty, empty, empty. 6 doors hold a cold truth. She's alone. The long mirror reflects an orderly Aiko, eyes slightly shadowed from late council meetings, hair tied high, face pinched by her own conflicting thoughts. She feels foolish standing in an empty bathroom, stirring the air with pointless checks. Then she remembers. The rhyme kids know, like a shameful chant. Third stall, knock 3 times, ask softly if Hanako's there. A teasing thought flits by. Do it, prove nothing happens, then leave. Fear often hides behind doors we open daily. The quickest way is to open it as usual, calmly. She returns, stands before the third stall. The ceiling light steadies, casting crisp white. Aiko curls her fist, knocks 3 times, dry, hollow, echoing off the tiles like coins in a dry well. Are you there, Hanako-san? The question comes half joking, half daring. As it lands, Aiko notices something odd. The vent's hum seems to stop. Silence swells, taut, enveloping everything. She waits 5 seconds. 10. Nothing. A breath escapes as a small laugh. See? She turns. 1 step, and a voice rises behind her, right from the third stall, soft and young, clear as a newly tuned string. Yes, I'm here. The first feeling isn't fear, but disbelief so strong every part of her freezes to process it. Her heart skips, then races to catch up. Her spine chills as if iced. Aiko spins around, the doors still closed, as she left it. Silent, as if the voice was her shadow, cast in the wrong place. Reason scrambles for the nearest excuse. Someone snuck in and I didn't hear. But she knows she stood blocking the entrance. No one passed. Or an echo from another floor, or a prank. She speaks aloud, nailing shaky belief to a cracking wall. Her hand touches the handle, cold. She pushes slowly, the hinge groaning like a warning. Inside, empty. The air feels denser, as if someone stood there and left. Aiko looks down. On the back wall, where only blank paint should be, scratches form words whispering from stone. Names. Names stacked vertically, etched deep or shallow. Old paint flaking around the edges like scales. To the right, dates descend like steps to a basement. 1978, 1983, 1995, 2008, 2019. Under each name date pair, 1 word, carved deep, uniform, like a patient scribe's signature. Taken. Aiko looks up, eyes racing faster than memory. Each name hits like a stone tossed into her core, rippling outward. At the bottom, the ripples pool into a pit. Aiko Nakamura, November 15th. Today. Her name sits there, fresh, sharp, paint dust still clinging to the edges, as if carved minutes ago. Her throat dries. For a moment, she conjures 3 or 4 explanations, like ropes thrown hastily. Someone knew I used this stall, pranking me. Hidden camera? No, the school wouldn't do that. Boys messing around. But how'd they know I'd be here now? Who had time to carve a whole wall? The ropes tangle, snap. Behind her, wind hisses through the main door's gap. The voice returns, clearer, closer, as if placed in the space between her neck and hair. Don't go, Aiko. We've waited for you so long. Aiko doesn't turn. Some primal instinct warns that if she does, something will meet her gaze. And when their eyes lock, a door will seal forever. She steps back, tripping on a tile's edge, nearly falling. Her hand slaps the wall, fingertips grazing cold, carved grooves like salted ice. She bolts, lunges from the stall, races for the bathroom door. Her hand hits the handle, yanks. The door flies open like thin canvas, hallway air rushing in. She runs. Ceiling lights streak overhead like misaligned stars. The hallway stretches longer. Her footsteps slap the walls and bounce back, as if someone's chasing. But glancing at classroom windows, she sees only her pale, fear-twisted face. The stairs appear, steps teetering underfoot. She plunges down, 1 floor, 2, 3, to the main lobby. Here, the familiar world returns. Bulletin board, vending machine, glass doors to the darkening schoolyard. Aiko stops, looks up at the 3rd floor hallway, gaping like a whale's mouth. No one, no sound but maple leaves brushing in the yard. It's so normal, it's laughable. If not for her heart pounding offbeat, the sweat soaking her shirt, she'd believe she imagined it. But the feeling of being named doesn't fade like sweat. It sits behind her sternum, like a mark carved in wood, growing colder with each deep breath. As she pushes through the glass doors to the yard, night air stings her face, making her eyes water. She tells herself, "Just a bad prank, I'll check again tomorrow." The words hang on her lips, light as a leaf, but inside, an unseen audience, her intuition, and anyone who's heard the tale, knows. Those early details aren't random debris, they're signs. The soft hinge creak, the flickering light, the thread-thin giggle, all threads of a tapestry woven behind the wall. And somewhere, on that wall, her name has found its place, aligned, neat, like a patient promise. The strange things begin to repeat. At first, Aiko thinks it's coincidence, a thread-like giggle in the 3rd stall, a red blur in her peripheral vision, a door ajar swaying with no hallway breeze. But as they become a daily rhythm, her fear shifts from reflex to a smouldering habit, arriving on time, tightening her chest like a cold hand. The next morning, the stall's wall is pristine, no scratches. Only a red ribbon sits neatly on the porcelain ledge, dry, dust-free. Aiko lingers, telling herself someone's teasing her. Passing the school's broadcast room on her way to the library, the ceiling speaker crackles once, like someone testing a mic, then falls silent. No one's inside. She counts to 3 in her head, unsure why. In the library, Aiko borrows an old yearbook. Each page turn cools her fingers. The paper feels like metal. One page falls open to a 1995 class photo. The caption wavers, slightly distorted, as if written through tears. Mika Hayashi. Beside the name, a small black dot, like incense ash. The librarian asks if she needs help. Aiko mentions the page, falling to 95, and the woman shrugs. Just the AC. Aiko glances up. The unit's still. From that day, the repetitions are timed. Around 10, when sunlight slants through the 3rd floor stairwell window, a red skirt flashes in Aiko's periphery, then vanishes. At lunch, the giggle sounds twice, 3 beats apart. No one at her table hears it. Hana frowns. "You got invisible earbuds?" Aiko forces a laugh, hiding trembling hands under the table. The intensity grows. A bathroom faucet turns on and off as she enters. First one, then 2, then all dripping in unison, the taps tapping like knocks. Each drop on porcelain echoes 3 times in her ears, dizzying. Aiko records with her phone to prove she's not hallucinating. Playback yields only the vent's hum. She plays it for Hana. Hana squints. Maybe your phone's glitching. She tries Hana's phone, still nothing. In math class, chalk dust on the board forms faint scratches. Looking at the window, faint finger smudges on the foggy glass spell names, fading like breath. Aiko stands. The teacher turns, seeing only clean glass and a flustered student. The class laughs, but Aiko sinks into her seat, chest heaving from a list she glimpsed starting with Hayashi Mika. The more she explains, the more isolated she feels. Her homeroom teacher suggests rest, blaming late council nights. The nurse checks her temperature, says exam stress. Hana invites her to karaoke. Aiko cites homework. She's scared of the long hallway to the stairwell. Since that first day, her feet always pause at the 13th step. The first 2 times, she didn't notice. By the third, she counts. Each pause brings a knock from above, 3 beats. Thursday night, Aiko searches the library's archives. The old microfilm reader, long unused, starts sluggishly, then runs smoothly. It stops on a 1978 clipping. 3rd-year girl missing after club hours. No photo, no details. Aiko scrolls faster. 1983, 1989, 1992. Markers sparse like silent black holes. A pattern. Late afternoons. 3rd floor. 3rd stall. Each report ends. Not found. The librarian passes, lighting another reading lamp as dusk falls. What are you reading so long? Aiko mentions the disappearances. Oh, those old sensational stories, papers back then, exaggerated. She leaves, Aiko's shadow stretching, breaking into 3 on the tiles. That night, Aiko doesn't dream. She hears. In the liminal space between wake and sleep, a chorus of young girls' voices whispers, Aiko, come back, Aiko. They lap like waves, each closer than the last. Morning finds her eyes shadowed. She vows to avoid the 3rd floor, but her schedule pulls her there, a council meeting in the usual room. Leaving, the hallway's dark, lit only by spaced lamps. The women's bathroom door sits ajar, just wide enough for a hand. Aiko looks down. Watery handprints mark the door's edge, small, slender, in 3 symmetrical pairs. She hurries away. Footsteps follow, light even, like a group marching in sync. Aiko speeds up. The steps match. But the distance doesn't close. At the turn, she glances back. Empty hallway. Facing forward, her reflection in a classroom window shows a red skirt trailing to the knees, sweeping past, then vanishing like a curtain yanked shut. The next day, Hana hands her a bag of buns. Eat. You look haunted by the 3rd stall. Aiko can't laugh. Friends joke about the stall ghost, tapping tables 3 times, laughing loudly. Aiko looks at her hands. Her left pinky nail has a fine scratch, 3 parallel lines like needle marks. She swears she did nothing last night to cause it. The intensity spikes. In an empty classroom, wiping the board, she hears chalk scratching behind her. On the clean board, a child's handwriting appears slowly, as if by an invisible hand. Are you there? She stumbles back. The back door slams shut, as if held. She screams. The janitor pushes in, seeing a pale girl and a blank board. No pranks, Nakamura. That afternoon, Aiko returns to the library. The rarely visited archive smells of damp paper. She opens an unmarked box, finding a worn cloth-bound notebook, Mika Hayashi's diary. Flipping the first page, Aiko recognizes the handwriting. Identical to the boards, thin, sharp, slightly right-tilted. Mika wrote of cyclical giggles, signs only she saw, friends dismissing her as exhausted from exams. Later entries grew urgent. She's not just one, many voices, Many memories. Each knock adds a voice. In the margin, triple underlined, don't let her mark you. Aiko touches the words, feeling cold through her skin. The overhead light flickers 3 times. From the aisle's end, a soft knock sounds, then 2, then 3, the old rhythm. Closer now. She clutches the notebook, leaves the library, hearing footsteps pacing hers. On the stairs, Aiko stops at the 13th step, an unseen appointment. The air thins, cold as a mirror's surface. Looking down, her shadow splits into 3. Looking up, a girl in an old sailor uniform stands at the landing, holding a red ribbon, head tilted as if listening. Aiko blinks. The landing's empty, but the ribbon, now in her hand, somehow. An old ink smell wafts, like diary pages. She understands. The cycle isn't a prank, it's a call. Each day, the volume rises, the distance shrinks, the signs sharpen, and others' disbelief corners her. She returns to the classroom, opens Mika's diary to the last written page. The text cuts off. If you read this, don't knock, don't answer. Don't let her carve your name. Aiko closes the book. Inside the cover, a short list of names, shallowly etched. Below, newly added, 3 faint words. Aiko Nakamura. She touches them, dry, fresh, sharp. In that moment, she sees Mika's described process. Repetitions to familiarize, escalation to erode defenses, and the victim's isolation when no one believes. A cycle designed to draw someone to the 3rd stall's door. As the dismissal bell rings, Aiko knows she's at the edge of an imagined salt circle. Without salt, prayers, or a mirror, she has only the 3-beat knock pulsing in her chest and a diary like a map in a storm. At the hallway's end, the bathroom door sits ajar, waiting for the right person, the right hour. When the final bell rings, Aiko sits frozen by the classroom window, staring at the empty hallway outside. No one's there, but in a blink, the window reflects a short red skirt and an old sailor blouse. A red streak like a blood vessel flashes across her vision, then vanishes. Aiko spins. The classroom holds only chair scrapes, rustling paper. She blames sleep deprivation, but from a corner, a giggle drops, like from the ceiling. The laugh isn't human, it's thin, drawn out, hissing through invisible teeth. Aiko stands. Her chair crashes. Classmates glance over. You okay? Hana asks. Aiko nods, claims a headache, and grabs her things. Glancing at the window again, she sees a black-haired girl, chin down, lips pursed as if stifling a smile. Her black eyes don't reflect light, like empty pits. The glass is cold, but Aiko's breath fogs it, tracing words as if written from the other side. Tonight. At break, Aiko slips into the 2nd floor bathroom to avoid crowds. She avoids the 3rd floor. Pushing the door, the hinge screeches a familiar tune. Not a normal creak, but 3 short notes, like knocks on a stall. The neon flickers. A faucet blasts on, then off. A mirror hangs crooked, as if pulled. Aiko breathes deep, washes her face. The icy water sharpens her. Looking up, she sees herself, but a red ribbon flickers behind her shoulder. She spins halfway. Nothing. Back to the mirror, the ribbon's near her neck. Now it's not just a ribbon, a skirt, a sailor collar, wet hair clumped like it rose from water. The girl in the mirror purses her lips, a giggle popping in Aiko's ear like a whisper. Aiko, stop hiding. The lights go out. In the dark, only the pop of water drops on porcelain and soft footsteps like a cat prowling the stalls. Click, click, click. Each stall door shuts, locking from inside. Aiko fumbles for her phone. Its screen glows, casting a weak circle. As it sweeps the stalls, 3 slender fingerprints appear on the 3rd door. Not smudges, but pressed from within, emerging then retracting. The 3rd door trembles. Knock, knock, knock. Aiko steps back, her spine freezing. She wants to scream for help, but her throat's knotted. A ringing fills her ears, then a murmur of children's voices overlapping. It's cold here. It's dark. Stay with us. Tilting her head, Aiko realizes the voices come from the floor. The white tiles sound hollow, echoing like a tunnel. The girl in the mirror presses close, her nose nearly touching the glass. Her skin is poreless white, a bruise on her temple like an old impact. Her lips part, not to speak, but to breathe. A cold mist coats the mirror, forming new words. We've waited. The main bathroom door behind Aiko slams shut. The hallway outside is silent. Her phone buzzes, notifications flash. Are you there, Hanako-san? Repeating endlessly like a cruel joke. The screen burns hot. Aiko tosses it into the sink, water splashing. The screen blacking out. A hiccup. Soft. Sounds from the third stall. Not a laugh. A child's stifled sob. Aiko gathers her courage, runs for the main door. Her hand hits the handle, freezing cold. She yanks. It slips like oiled. From the stalls, a hinge wails long. The third door opens 2 handspans, then stops, as if someone's perched on the toilet's edge. From the dark gap, a red fabric bow slides out, thumping dryly on the wet tiles. Inside, shadows layer like stacked figures. A small, pale hand reaches out, nails chipped. It doesn't grab Aiko, but gently straightens the bow, like clearing space for a new arrival. The air thickens, a rusty smell of stagnant water seeping everywhere. Aiko feels an invisible weight on her shoulders. Her skin stings like rope burn. Looking down, her left wrist shows 3 thin, parallel red marks, like a child's grip. Bare footsteps slap closer. The floor shows no one, but dust on the tiles dents into tiny footprints, stopping before Aiko. Suddenly, her hair's yanked back. She drops to her knees, arms flailing. A cold breath brushes her ear. Aiko! Stay. The breath isn't human. It smells of damp paper, old ink from a register, a raincoat never dried. The first stall's door bangs, then the second. The slams ripple down the row back again, like a counting game. Each hit echoes from a hollow core. Bulbs pop, glass shards falling. But Aiko sees something worse. The shards don't fall down but are pulled upward, hovering briefly before scattering, as if floating in water. The wall mirror glows, though the lights are off. In it, a 1959 bathroom appears. Square-tiled walls, a cracked corner, an old enameled bucket. In the frame, a girl in a red skirt sits on the toilet, arms clutching her stomach, curled as if stifling sobs. Outside the reflection, Aiko's reality quakes, like the floor sinks a few centimeters. A new hand grabs her collar, yanks. A button pops. Her neck jerks. Her vision sways, distorts. She screams, but only a rasp escapes. No one answers. Tiny footsteps surround her. On the opposite wall, names and dates rise like carvings from within. Girls and years. The word taken shifts, letters trembling, ink like fluid dripping like tar, forming a new, unfinished word. Aiko crawls to the sink, her back hitting cold porcelain. From the drain, a scraping sound, like something climbing against the water, nails clawing the pipe's walls. The third stall's door swings wide. Hanako steps out. No longer a flicker. A full figure stands before Aiko. A 12-13-year-old girl, wet hair dripping, red skirt frayed. Water drips from the hem to the tiles, but the drops don't splatter. They roll upward, pooling back on the fabric. Her cheeks are bruised, as if pressed long, lips cracked, but her smile is eerily gentle. She lifts her head, and as her eyes meet Aiko's, all sound in the room stops. Do you hear us? A question torn into 4 beats, like a crackling speaker. Then the voice shifts, smooth as a classmate's. Aiko, it's me. Stay with us. Hanako tilts her head. From behind, more girls emerge like thick fog, various uniforms from different eras. Their arms reach, not touching Aiko, but closing around the air, forming a tight circle of bodies. Each face is blank, grey eyes unreflective, all staring at Aiko. No escape. The floor surges, expelling a cold gust into Aiko's stomach. She doubles over, coughing. Hanako steps closer. The distance is a hand's reach. Aiko's wrist marks darken to purple. Tiny fingerprints crawl over her skin, stopping at her pulse. Her strength drains, like a valve opened. Her legs buckle, her vision spots black. "You're tired," Hanako whispers, her voice now a mournful mist. "No tests here, no friends leaving you, just us." From behind, cold hands touch Aiko's shoulders, numbing her skin. The ceiling lowers, walls close in. The space shrinks, pushing Aiko toward the third stall. The door begins to close. The latch turns. In the tight space, Hanako stands inches away, her black eyes like deep wells. Aiko reaches for her phone. Gone. She tries to recall her grandma's words, but they blur into a hum. Hanako's smile widens, not cruel, but eerily kind. She lifts a hand, touches Aiko's chest, weightless, but Aiko's heart skips, falling as if from her ribs. The air thickens, each breath draining oxygen. On the wall, the final letter twitches, forming a complete word for today. Aiko Nakamura, tack. An invisible needle tightens around her throat. Aiko's vision narrows to a circle. In it, only the red bow trembles, like another's heart beating in her hand. As Aiko collapses, Hanako's eyes flash pity or triumph. The room whites out. Aiko hears no laughter, only water rising to her neck. She opens her mouth, but an unseen hand covers it. Shh! Stay! The bathroom door swings open as if unlatched from within. Aiko stumbles back, clutching the salt packet her grandma gave her, but what she just saw, layered faces, hollow eyes, Hanako's voice, crushes her will to stand. She turns and runs. Her footsteps echo, like knocks chasing from multiple directions. Fluorescent lights flicker, the hallway stretches endlessly. Classroom doors are locked, club posters flap as if blown from behind. Aiko avoids glancing at door windows, fearing a red figure pressed against the glass, smiling too wide. She races for the stairs, hands shaking, the small round mirror bouncing on her chest, clinking dryly. At the landing, Aiko trips. Her knee scrapes wood, burning. She falls face down, salt scattering, grains brushing her lips, salty. Struggling up, she hears barefoot steps behind, wet, slow, steady. Not looking back, Aiko crawls, scrambles to her feet, and bolts to the second floor. Nearing the lobby, the upstairs bathroom door slams open, like every stall inhaling at once. She sprints through the empty hallway, pushes the main door, locked. The guard locked it earlier. Aiko knows, but blind hope makes her yank, pull, ram her shoulder until it aches. A whisper brushes her neck. Don't run. Cold creeps down her spine. Reflexively, she presses the mirror to her chest like a charm, muttering her grandma's prayer, words stumbling. The air parts, giving her a breath's space. The emergency exit by the lobby cracks open, unlatched. Aiko dives through into a dim concrete stairwell between grey walls. Damp mould and rust replace the bathroom's chlorine smell. She runs down, hands sliding on icy railings. Wall stains form random words. In a glance, Aiko thinks she sees her name appear, then fade. Mid-stair, a bulb pops, plunging dark. Bare footsteps echo from below, climbing toward her. Aiko's trapped between sounds. Behind, breath on her neck. Below, barefoot steps. She presses against the wall, eyes scanning. A small emergency window at the landing. Old lock, rusty latch. She pries with her fingers, snapping a nail. Blood and torn skin sting, but the latch gives. The window swings open. autumn night air pouring in like cold stone. Without thinking, Aiko squeezes through the narrow window, twisting to land on a low roof outside. The tin roof clangs sharply, pain shooting up her spine. She crawls like a wounded animal, reaching the edge, gripping a trembling gutter. Below, a schoolyard flower bed, too high to jump safely, but no choice. Behind, the window stays open, night rising like arms. Aiko grits her teeth, closes her eyes, and lets go. The fall knocks the air from her lungs. Dirt sprays. Her forearm scrapes concrete, burning. Her scraped knee stings more. One ankle twists, sharp pain. For a long second, she hears only her heartbeat. Then, wind hisses through the sports field, leaves rustle, real-world sounds. She staggers up, limping to the side gate. It's chained, but the guard's booth to the right glows. Aiko bangs the door, calls hoarsely. The guard jolts, shocked to see a bloodied girl, face pale, clutching a singed-edged mirror. "I fell," Aiko says, spinning a quick lie, stripping away the supernatural for a gate key and freedom. The guard eyes her wounds, hesitates, then unlocks the gate, urging her to a nearby clinic. Aiko nods, steps onto the quiet street. As the gate shuts, she glances back at the school, the third floor dark, except for a bathroom window faintly showing a red ribbon-like streak in the breeze. On the way home, every passing car startles her. Streetlights stretch her shadow into a warped shape. Her ankle's pain throws her steps off. Each footfall is a small blade. Inside her head, the whispers lose words. Just echoes of a sealed room where air is compressed and time is stuck. She clutches the mirror to her chest, as if holding her heart in place. Her grandma opens the door before Aiko rings. Her eyes scan the torn knee, bloody hands, swollen ankle, and a void in her granddaughter's eyes she instantly knows. Terror rooted deep. She doesn't pry. She guides Aiko inside, cleans wounds with warm salted water, bandages them, wraps the ankle in clean cloth. At the family altar, she lights incense, murmurs a prayer, and hands Aiko a new salt pouch. When the trembling eases, Aiko speaks. The third stall, the giggle, her carved name with taken, the layered faces, the moment she ran, despite vowing to face it. Each word spills like glass shards. She stumbles, images piling, sounds overlapping. Her grandma listens without judgment. "Running is surviving too," she says softly. But running leaves traces. The traces appear that night. When Aiko turns off her room's light, her eyes dart to the dark corner by the wardrobe. Her heart races at the gap between curtain and window. Every house sound, water pump, branches on glass, becomes an alarm. She pulls the blanket to her chin, sleepless. The bandage on her knee dampens. Her ankle pulses with each minute. Her body signals red, her mind exhausted but unyielding. At dawn, Aiko dozes briefly, dreaming of the school hallway. Endless, lights flickering with her steps. She runs, but stalls at the landing. Every turn leads back to the bathroom door. Waking, sweat glues her bangs, her shirt soaked. Her grandma sits by the bed, offering ginger tea. "Surviving means carrying it forward," she says quietly, "but not letting it pull you back." In the small mirror on her desk, Aiko sees her pale face and shadowed eyes. A tiny singed mark on the mirror's edge, from pressing it to her chest in the lobby, like a bite from the night. She touches it but pulls back. An imagined smoke smell rises. She seals the mirror in the new salt pouch, ties it tight, and places it high on a shelf, like storing evidence. The next day, Aiko skips school. Her phone buzzes with Hana's texts. "You okay? I'm worried." Aiko types and deletes several times. Finally just replies, "Fine." She stands by her window, watching the quiet alley. Noon light filters through leaves, sunspots dancing on the wall like ripples. Her hands twitch at imagined barefoot steps on tiles. She knows she only escaped, not triumphed, just a survivor leaving an unfinished room. Her knee will scar, her ankle will heal, but the random racing pulse, the nights waiting for whispers, they may linger. Beneath the fear, a taut thread. The third stall hasn't vanished, only quieted. Hanako's not in her sight from last night, but those girls' names remain carved. On a wall, or in Aiko's memory, beside the taken she saw too clearly to forget. Her grandma rests a hand on Aiko's shoulder, light as a stone holding paper still. While you're still trembling, don't go back, she warns. But when you can face fear without flinching, you'll know. Running last night was to return tomorrow, the right way. Aiko nods. On her knee, the bandage smells of medicine. Outside, neighbor kids' voices echo, lively. She closes her eyes, breathes deep. The sense of survival lingers, fragile, cracked. But there, a verb longer than one night. The third-floor bathroom's air is so cold, Aiko sees her breath in thin wisps. 6 stall doors stand shut. Only the fluorescence hum buzzes like it's draining power. Aiko stands in a salt circle, clutching the small mirror and a worn prayer paper from her grandma. She whispers the first chant. The young voices from nearby stalls hush, as if a curtain's drawn. And then, the truth, Hanako's past, rises from the dark. The mirror's surface clouds like rainy night water, then slowly clears into a hazy 1959 scene. Aiko sees a wooden hallway, cracked wall edges, a bulletin board plastered with yellowed certificates. The bathroom door swings open, a 12-year-old girl, hair bluntly cut, red bow, rushes in, panicked. Outside, sharp giggles, rubber shoes dragging on tiles. "Hanako Yamamoto, you weirdo!" someone jeers. The third stall's door is yanked, desks are piled against it. In the mirror's view, Aiko watches the girl pound the door, sweat and tears mixing. Her breathing stutters, a heart condition choking her cries for mum. That night, no one returns. Morning brings thick silence and a red bough fallen into a damp floor crack. Not a lone event. The mirror shifts. Years later, another girl, eyes swollen, hides in the third stall. Then another and another. The school's lonely ones, each carrying a wound, mockery, anonymous notes, cold group stares. They form an invisible room where loneliness pools like vapor, crystallizing into a core. Hanako, in unquelled anguish, clings to where she died, not just a ghost, but a core of solitude drawing in similar fragments. Aiko opens Mika Hayashi's old notebook, placed at the salt circle's edge. The final entry glints under the light. She's not one, she's many. The ink seems to quiver in a breeze. Aiko reads softly Mika's description of a source-gazing ritual. Aiming a mirror at the third stall, scattering salt counterclockwise to force memories to surface. Everything Aiko does tonight follows that record, refined by her grandma's ancient chants. As the third chant ends, fragmented images align. The first night's giggle, the red ribbon on the porcelain, the wall of names with taken. All Hanako's markers, like stones guiding the lonely to a new family. Fontam. All earlier clues now make sense. The word taken isn't just a threat, it's the language of being claimed. The red ribbon is a memory hook. The laughter isn't from one stall because it's a chorus of eras blended. The voice, distant yet clear, is explained. Echoes from different years, not one mouth. The third stall's door creaks open. Not one girl, but many. Faces layer like double exposed photos. Sailor uniforms, red skirts, braided hair, trembling shoulders. At the front, Hanako, now vivid, black eyes deep. A smile both childish and ancient, like she's lived too many winters in one night. You came back, Hanako says, her voice cracking like glass. We've waited so long. Aiko grips the mirror but doesn't raise it as a weapon. She sets a rice ball on the floor, steps back to open a gap in the salt circle. I'm not here to banish you, Aiko whispers. I'm here to see you. The rustling in other stalls stops. Hanako tilts her head, confused. Aiko speaks as her grandma taught, not why do this, but did it hurt then? The question shifts the air, from confrontation to dialogue. Memories flood, desks blocking the door, a heart skipping, childish humiliation. Hanako tucks her hands into her sleeves, hiding unseen scars. No one looked for me, she murmurs. No one remembered. Aiko lifts the mirror, not toward Hanako but to the hallway, reflecting another scene. Mothers at the school gate in 1959, clutching photos. An old teacher pausing over a gradebook, marking a long dot. A faded paper noting a sad accident. Some remembered, Aiko says. Their memory just couldn't break through guilt and silence. The spirits behind Hanako waver like flames in a gust. A girl in an 80s uniform whispers, "My mum still sets an extra rice bowl." Another murmurs, "Dad never locks the bathroom after dusk." Lost memories find paths home. Aiko scatters the remaining salt, turning the closed circle into an exit, a gap toward the main door, where hallway light streams like a thin river. You say they chose to stay. Aiko meets Hanako's eyes. But if they never saw a way home, was it really a choice? Hanako doesn't answer. Her face shifts. Anger, fear, then slowly, shyness, a rare emotion for a ghost. Aiko touches the prayer paper, reciting the final chant, warm and firm. It doesn't banish or judge. It names Hanako by her full name, the girls behind by their names from the wall. Each name unties a knot. The light shifts, from cold white to warm ivory. On the third stall's wall, the carved words stir. Taken fades. Remembered emerges. Michiko Sato, remembered. Akemi Yamada, remembered. Mika Hayashi, remembered. And then, Aiko Nakamura, witness and friend. Aiko's breath catches in a soft sob. Will you forget us? Hanako asks, voice small as dust. No, Aiko replies. But more importantly, I'll tell. She turns the mirror, now reflecting Hanako as a child hugging her knees, not a commanding spirit. The mirror doesn't expose, it restores. Hanako sees herself, not a monster, but a girl trapped in darkness too long. Her eyes fill with tears. I'm tired, she says. Then rest, Aiko whispers. The girls behind Hanako dissolve into the light, not shattering but fading like morning mist in sun. Each leaves with an image, a red bow, a torn button, an unsent letter. Hanako goes last. She looks at Aiko, bows slightly, a mix of apology and gratitude. Thank you for seeing me. Then she's gone, leaving a full silence. The air warms. The fluorescent hum returns to normal. Aiko steps to the wall, touches the changed words. Her fingers are warm. The salt underfoot is dry, no longer a barrier but a bridge. On the porcelain ledge, the red ribbon is no longer mouldy. It's clean, like tied in a child's hair before recess. Aiko doesn't touch it. She bows, like farewelling a friend gone home. Stepping out, the hallway feels lighter. Not from grand magic or rare strength, but from something simple, being seen and named. All the scattered clues, laughter, carved wall, ribbon, Mika's diary, Grandma's words, form a mosaic, leading Aiko to a peak not of victory, but empathy. That empathy closes the door where a mirror once opened darkness. The Hanako-san legend belongs to Gakko no Kaidan, school ghost stories, common in Japan. The onryo, vengeful spirit, often stems from isolation and school violence. The ritual Aiko used reflects folk beliefs blending Shinto and Buddhism. What do you think? Is Hanako-san a terrifying ghost, or a child's cry for help, forgotten? In Aiko's place, would you face her with fear or understanding? Share below. Have you seen bullying at school, and what did you do? Don't forget to like and subscribe for more Asian ghost stories. Next week, Kuchisake Onna, the slit mouth curse. Stay tuned.